Namaste, welcome back to my channel, Indigo Angel. Thank you for watching, thank you for your love and your support. In this video today, I will be going over in more detail the higher dimensions of physical matter, primarily talking about the dimensions 8 through 12. I feel like I want to focus my energy here more in these explanations, assuming that most of my viewers at this point are probably coming from an expanded state of consciousness, probably already working through the 7th dimensional chakra body, learning the 7th dimensional chakra body, understanding the 7th dimensional chakra body, redirecting energies from within to work with these chakras. So I'm kind of directing this energy towards those higher dimensions just for this video. But if you want me to make a video on the lower dimensions and chakras, I will. But for right now, to correlate this into physical body ascension and celestial ascension, I will be talking primarily about the 12 dimensions of physical matter, today talking about 8 through 12. So the 12 dimensional chakra body, which is all of these chakras here, correlates to the 12 dimensions of the foundational houses in astrology. This also correlates to, the 12 strands of DNA, the 12 archangels, the 12 temples of Atlantis, the 12 tribes of Israel. I mean, we could keep rolling this into all of the synchronicities of the worldly 12s. Which ultimately breaks down 1 + 2 is 3, which breaks down to creation. So this is the foundation of creation, is how I like to see it. And okay, so each one of these dimensions of interdimensional self, of our subtlety bodies, our energy bodies, our planetary bodies, our astral bodies, our crystalline bodies, our plasma bodies, all of these etheric, holographic aspects of interdimensional self, which comes through the emotional body and through the spiritual body. All of these aspects of self essentially make up the interdimensional foundation of your physical structure. And so as the veil's thin, you get to understand more of that structuralization within inside yourself, essentially. So today I'm going to go into explaining and understanding and navigating these dimensions and the process of embodying these aspects as source self. So each one of these chakras is an attunement that you familiarize yourself with the frequency that it carries, and then you attune your energies to this and you embody this as source self. So it becomes an aspect of you once you redirect your awareness to it, essentially. This is the process, like I said, of embodying these aspects as source self. The awareness and focus needed to redirect energies back into the body and what this experience might look like and feel like. And I just go based off of my own perceptions. I don't really talk about anything that I haven't experienced myself, because I wouldn't be coming from a place of knowledge if I had. So I correlate the light codes and the information with my experience, and then this is what I present. So I do flip-flop back and forth between my inner triad, my human, my soul, and my galactic perceptions. Okay, so each one of these dimensions of source self, essentially, is an aspect of your consciousness. So like I said, they correlate to the chakra body, the 12 strands of DNA, and to the 12 dimensional chakra body. So the first one being the root, this does correlate to Aries in astrology, and this is physical consciousness. 2, we have the sacral chakra. This correlates to Taurus in astrology, and this is relationship consciousness. Okay. 3, we have self-consciousness. It correlates to Gemini in astrology, and this is the solar plexus. 4, we have the heart chakra. heart consciousness. This is Cancer. This is the moon. This is the subconscious in a lot of ways as well. It's the sun and the moon, essentially, is how I see it. Because it's electromagnetic energy. So electro-lunar magnetic energy. So it's all three. It's like that triad that essentially makes up the personality. So 5, we have the throat chakra, and this is your consciousness of expression of your truth. This is also ruled by Leo, is how I see it in the astrological foundational houses. 6, this is your third eye. This is your inner knowing, your intuition consciousness. This is where you analyze, essentially. And this is ruled by Virgo in the astrological houses. So 7 is your crown chakra. This is your I am presence. This is your balance. This is ruled by Libra in the astrological foundational houses. 8, we have spirit self. This is I desire. This is an aspect of logos consciousness. Once we come out of the body, we're going into logos consciousness. We're going into prime creator consciousness. We're embodying 5th dimensional and beyond existences. So we are entering into higher intelligences of light codes and particles. So this is the etheric realm. This is the spirit realm. In the astrological houses, this is ruled by Scorpio. This is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, okay? But I'm going to get more into the dimensions 8 through 12 as we go. But I just kind of wanted to explain the first 7 chakra bodies to you, so that way you at least have that foundation there. So in my last video, I went over detailed aspects of multidimensionality. I showed contrast between unconscious human and fully activated and awakened toroidal field, and kind of went more into explanation of the perception of linear unconscious human. So one thing that you really have to understand if you are trying to anchor in your higher dimensional aspects is the dimensions. You have to understand dimensions. So a dimension is essentially a frequency. It is a realm. It is a way of being, a state of consciousness. This can shift and change very frequently based on one's ability to hold light at a higher state of intelligence. So the dimension that you exist in itself depends upon the frequency you operate at in. So a dimension is essentially a frequency, it's a realm, it's a way of being, it's a state of consciousness. This can shift and change very frequently based on one's ability to hold light at a higher state of intelligence. So the dimension you exist in itself depends upon the frequency you operate at in any given time. And many factors affect the frequencies. So utter and complete self-awareness is the prime state of being for observation, to see self and to see how you shift, and to see where you are resistant and cohesive and convergent and in allowance. This is full quantum cognitive 360-degree range of self-observation. This is getting so quiet in your thought and tuning into the heartbeat, completely surrendering to your being state. This is also understanding time is but separation. So it's basically an implanted grid separating off from wholeness. So in order to understand any of this truly, one needs to transcend the limitation of time within themselves. So like the Gregorian calendar, like lists, tasks, in any implanted grid system, to see the multidimensional realms that exist inside the body, the mind, the heart, the neural pathways, holographically, all the way to the physical manifestation within and without. So let's say you take a vacation from work or school and your body starts to naturally align to the natural circadian sleep rhythms. And looking at the watch or the phone or the calendar seems to just, like, that need to do that seems to kind of just disappear. For it diminishes as well. This is kind of like an example of how time truly does not exist in your natural homeostatic states. So now we do have to utilize the system to function in our 3D linear world, yes. That is where I personally struggle as I've become more multidimensional. Operating quantumly, putting things back into a box can come as a struggle and takes a lot more focus. So when you start to see things from this viewpoint, you essentially exist no longer feeling like today and tomorrow, and your life like spans over months and years. You essentially hold your expanded states to embody past, present, and future selves now, as a culmination of all timelines and existences. You're limitless, you're boundless, you feel eternal, you are eternal, and you transcend the limits of human time. So you're constantly going through these realizations and states of existences as you embody these dimensions of source self. Now, we are using a system of a separated dimension. So yes, this is separated, but as humans, humans need to essentially separate things to understand them, to transcend something. That's when you know your Orion genetic has activated in your perception, is you will hold something separated or in a dualistic nature before it comes into wholeness. And the truth is, there is no separation. All dimensions in the physical body will break down to become one, to become a unified field of consciousness, to break down and become a stargate as you ascend into celestial ascension. This is celestial ascension, but this is essentially quantum within the body. So essentially, separation is a human creation. And when you release the human need to separate, you no longer care. And when you release the need to control anything, you're liberating your spirit and freedom. So don't hold on to these things as like fact, or as like it is what it is. These dimensions in all truth really don't really even matter, because they all break down anyways into one. So keep in mind that no one is ever fully in any one-dimensional realm. Yet once the heart consciousness opens, once the DNA and the RNA and the activated light body come online, the heart consciousness expands and floods the matrix. And then you're just all existent in all realms at all times. There is, and this is where multidimensionality comes from. This is why my creations on my channel are like all over the place. It's because I'm channeling Gaia one day, and then the King of Solomon the next day, and then the Arcturians and the Pleiadians an hour later. It's all in one day, and there is no separation. So each one of these dimensions, as you come to embody them, carry a different frequency, a different healing, a different aspect of human self that they release. And each release further opens into these realms until you can fully attune to them and channel them and embody the energy. And as you expand more and more, you can choose the realms you prefer to exist in. If you don't choose to exist in your human realm, it fades and becomes something that you observe when it does kick back in. Everything that you perceive out there is realized that it's all from within. So all of this is from within the body. Even the dimensions that are outside of the physical body in the toroidal field, because you're expanding geometrically from within to bring in these particles back into the body for you to then become conscious and aware of it. So this is a process of acclimating to new frequencies and actually shifting dimensionally from within us. We start to have dream walking states. We start to have holographic memory and codons activate as the molecular you starts to restructure to these new light particles and codes. And here's where you come into celestial aspects of starseeds and ET consciousness, anchoring in otherworldly and planetary perceptions, existences in the yugas past, present, and future, going through constant life review, but feeling forever eternal, essentially opening and peaking and playing in the cosmic Akash. I feel like a lot of times just like this little kid running around in the stargates half the time, just thinking about, you know, which energy to call forth next, as I feel they all wish to come through. This is an etheric network of the one infinite mind. But I'd like to dive into the aspects of the causal chakra. So I'm going to actually, I have a fly in here too. I'm going to actually go through my experiences with these dimensions just to give you some sort of a baseline or reference point as to what you're experiencing, and maybe comparing it to my experience and being like, oh yeah, okay, maybe I am embodying my causal chakra, or maybe I am embodying, you know, aspects of my higher self or my 10th, 11th, and 12th dimensional self, but I'm just not realizing it yet. And it just takes that transfer of light code or knowledge to integrate that into your awareness. So like I said, I'd like to start in the aspects of the causal chakra. So one has to come to the conscious awareness that their perceptions of their reality are now integrating qualities of the spirit realm. So with the spirit realm, so when you expand into causal chakra, 8th dimension, like I said, this is an aspect of Logos consciousness. This is the spirit realm. This is the etheric realm. This is where your energy expands into, let's say you kind of take on this essence of a divine guide. You assist those with beginning and middle of life renewal phases. You have this imaginative quality. You're very passionate, yet you're very emotional. You're very persistent, intense. In this dimension, in this frequency, you possess this spellbinding charm, you know, because you're really starting to tune into working with spirit guides, spirit realm, archangels. And when you work with the archangels, when you work with any aspect of spirit or light energy, whether they're light beings, you essentially embody the knowledge and the light codes and the wisdom that they bring forth to you. So in this aspect of this dimension, I really developed, you know, my clairvoyancy, my clairaudiency. So this is where you might start really tuning into tones and harmonics and rhythms. You may start to hear heavenly songs, so really hearing spirit in octaves, feeling deep and profound peace. The causal chakra is the gateway to the angelic kingdom. It is the gateway to the 7 rays of creation. It is the gateway to the Pleiades. It is the gateway to communication of light. So you probably are starting to naturally do things as far as light language, speak light language, write light language, sing light language. You'll start to channel your mother tongues of your stargates and galactics. You're all kind of doing this unknowingly at this point. You're just doing it, and you're maybe really not sure why. But you will become more aware of rainbow light codes, any type of light codes, platinum light codes, golden light codes, white light codes, anything of light, period. You're mesmerized, you're taken back, you go into a childlike state of ooh and ah and mesmerization, very blissful, very much in a state of magic and harmony. You may be aligning to, you know, your higher self animal aspects, so your 9th dimensional animal aspects, like the doves, like the bird tribes, like your avian DNA may activate. A lot's going on here in spirit realm. This is an immensity of embodiment of spirit. So whichever spirit guide you connect to most is really going to aid and fulfill within the body. You may start to see auras, like I said, sensitive to ray encodements. You'll have communication with light beings. You'll start to communicate with archangels. You'll communicate with ascended masters. This may start by feeling very outside of you, but as you start to attune your awareness and attention to it, it comes within you and it becomes a part of you. You may start channeling, very psychic here. You may have some experiences with mediumship, crossed over loved ones. Here you may resonate with the frequency of unicorns, mermaids, dragons, working with like very interesting spirit guides, types of beings that you haven't seen before, very mystical, very magical. One for me was I started working with a being that was very, very tall and alien-like. Come to find out later, this had to do with some of my Lyran connections. Very much starting to integrate beings that do not look like Earth, do not look like they're from Earth. Causal chakra is regenerative forces, new beginnings, and end-of-life phases. So this is the ruler of the psychic realm. So expanding into causal chakra, an exploration here, like I told you before, it's a choice of which dimension you get to play in that you want to focus your attention on. So if you're starting to integrate these experiences, I suggest you spend a lot of attention and focus in the causal chakra, as this will highly expand your integration and navigation abilities into the other dimensions. This is also the focus of dynamic renewal, soul cleansing, and purification. So there's a lot of purification going on in the causal chakra, as this spiritual aspect of you is a higher dimensional aspect of you, usually coming to soothe, aid, and heal. So expanding outside of the physical body here, there's a lot of healing that's going on still within the physical body. So these aspects are assisting with the clearing of your own personal Akashic records, and they're actually aiding, soothing, and guiding this process within the body. Now I want to bring your focus and awareness down to the 9th dimension. This is what I call the Gaia self. This is the seat of the soul, as the feet, the soles of the feet integrate the seat of the soul. Okay, this is the center of the psychic body of Gaia, Omega. This is very connected to Archangel Sandalphon. Here, this is where you connect with your sacred guardians, the angel of glory, the angel of prayer. This is very evolutionary. This is very planetary cycles. This is tuning you into the original grid of Gaia, the 1320 frequency, the original template. This is essentially connecting you to all-encompassing love and compassion and intention. All of the guiding earth force of Gaia. This is the intention. This is the life purpose. This is where you start to integrate these perceptions and these awarenesses. The frequency of this dimension will be very energetic, ambitious, generous, freedom-loving. You're a seeker of challenges when you're in this dimension. You have a lot of new ideas and you're ready to explore. This dimension usually means you're in a place of good fortune, as there's a lot of optimism and expansion and abundance. This dimension of Source Self assists with anchoring in your life purpose, your higher purpose, your soul mission. This sows the seeds of your intention, because this is also very connected to the grandmother trees and this cohesive biological neural network of cohesiveness in the biosphere of breath. So you're literally sowing your seeds of intention with every breath that you take into the center psychic body of Gaia through the trees. Okay. So you breathe, and that's going into earth. Okay. And you are sowing these seeds with every breath that you take. So conscious awareness. So this is all about your soul mission. This is also the main hub for karmic understanding. This holds karmic blueprint. This holds information about incarnations. This is your connection to your organic organs. Like I told you with the cycles, planetary cycles. Planetary cycles are very connected to your organic organs, in the sense that these cycles of each organ is represented by a planet, and each organ sheds new cells like every 8 weeks or every 6 weeks. I don't have that specific information right now, but I can, put that in a future video. Essentially, each organ also keeps you on a different cycle, a different frequency, a different rotation. So getting in tune to your organic organs. In this dimension, we just activate our awareness to this. This fly is like my little friend in my video. He wants to come hang out, I see. Here you gain incredible insight about who you are. You release more karmic residue. There's more acceptance in your detachments. There's more acceptance in duality. And you have a very clear perception of your flipping perspectives. Here you hold Mahama, unconditional love, like I said, creational light rays, and you're activating more to your higher self healing. Your desire to heal is preparing you for the next phase of your embodiment of Source. And this is where, in this dimension of Gaia, in 9th dimension, you're embodying humanity, humanity healing, you're purging, clearing, and cleansing for the collective. You're having a lot of conscious Kundalini awakening and activations because you're highly connected to this dualistic wave energy that's coming up from Gaia. Pretty much we're syncing up to Gaia's Kundalini, her electromagnetic lunar energy that kind of flows like the Kundalini. Okay, and so that's coming up through the chakra body, and we're essentially attuning to this wave. So since this holds all karmic blueprints, this is also going to hold rememberings of our divinity on Earth. This is going to hold our rememberings of Atlantis, Lemuria, Egypt, a lot of our past lives. It basically holds the conscious Merkaba and connects us to the noosphere of the Earth and the one collective mind. This connects us to planetary thought, tuning into the noosphere of the mind as well. So there's a lot of connection here to the past worlds, the past yugas. Here's where you might be remembering your direct lineages, your direct ancestral connections, your direct existences in previous yugas, and it's all held within the noosphere of Earth. So connecting to Gaia, I mean, this is huge. Spirit realm and connecting to Gaia it's a huge aspect of consciousness. It's a huge aspect of expanded states of consciousness. When one starts connecting planetarily and to spirit realm, this means that there's probably no stopping the level of your expansion. The only thing that's getting in the way is yourself. So if you're struggling with expansion. Okay, so going into the 10th dimension, the 10th chakra, this is basically the higher self. This is the monad. This is the oversoul. This is also considered the soul star. So, you know, you need spirit realm and the dualistic nature of Earth to kind of come into wholeness. So now we're expanding into your non-dualistic state, basically your pure state of unity. So here you provide yourself with a lot of security and gratitude. Your qualities may be reserved. You may be feeling patient. You may be feeling strategic, acquisitive, disciplined, determined, opportunistic. You're definitely tuning into higher aspects of Source. So there's a lot of higher mind intelligence that comes into this perception, into this awareness, into this dimensional aspect of self. This also governs, like, here's the thing, a lot of people are channeling these energies so that they're unconscious and aware of they're even channeling the energy. So this aspect in everybody's life governs their reputation, their career, standing in the community, seeking of honor, praise, and approval of the world. It also holds your current and toughest life lessons. It holds your past life lessons. It holds your Akashic records, your divinity, your karma, ancestral and generational. This is the embodiment of the oversoul, and it becomes conscious and capable of clearing karmatic timelines. So you see the lessons as they present. You stay in an observative state. You stay in a transcendent, transmutational, alchemist state. You're very conscious of your timelines, clearing your belief systems and your karma. There's an integrative process of work done in the previous two realms. But when you get here, more divinity is revealed, more ancient remembering. This holds all cellular DNA memory. Here we release our cords and attachments, and we meld authority and responsibility. We find balance and harmony, and we are unified within. This is the bridge to the heart chakra. Okay, so this is like highly connected. This is a major step in your awakening, and this is you being conscious of the subconscious and conscious thoughts. So you've expanded your consciousness to see the subconscious thoughts in pretty much all mental spheres of the mind, even though you may not realize you're doing it yet, but you are tuning into the pre-conscious and the subliminal telepathy. There's a lot going on here. You become very multidimensional and you embody your higher self. So this is the focus of accepting the new paradigm, and you're actually dawning the light body. You're emerging. Okay, so this is the 11th dimensional chakra. I like to call this the planetary self, or you're in a very high state of claircognition. Your main focus is I know. I mean, you really are in that higher mental intelligence when you expand into this dimension. But there is this sense of being liberated. You are essentially an intergalactic. You are activating the stargates within the body, but you're not fully conscious of this yet. Highly connected to the Atlantean, to the Lemurian, to the Mars, to the Marduk, the previous yugas, the previous root races. You are definitely in a state of liberation, overwhelming forgiveness, joy, and you're very meditative in your physical, in your present. Very expanded, maybe not even be inside the body so much. But your qualities are that of wisdom, and so you can be very assertive, very independent, very progressive, very analytical, very original, inventive. Here you are definitely a humanitarian, 100%. You're innovative, and you're very unconventional. Maybe having a very hard time relating to any bit of society or your environment. I mean, you're connected to the environment and to nature, but as far as humans, you're struggling, possibly. But you are fully conscious of connection to higher masculine intelligence, and this is obliterating your mental human intelligence. You're fully conscious of embodied truth. This is your truest spiritual essence, your authenticity, your divinity. You are collective humanity. You may be navigating dimensions, but you're probably still doing this unconsciously. And like I said, you are activating the stargates, extraterrestrial DNA is coming more online, but it may still feel very outside of you. Your focus at this point is sustaining higher consciousness and clearing the subconscious, transitioning to full ascension and programming your own mind. You are in I don't want to say full control, but you are fully sovereign and aware of your reality. Here you are more crystalline, you're more light body. So you're less physical and less material existence to survive as needed. Very high claircognitive abilities are activated in this dimension. Okay, so the 12th dimension. So this is your universal self. This is fully ascended soul. This is I believe. This is, all of these qualities of mercy, divine intelligence, wisdom, and miracles. This is, your qualities here are compassion, but this is the most mysterious aspect. You're very intuitive, very emotional, very mystical, but adaptable and changeable. You encompass divine intelligence, higher masculine mind, fully connected to the feminine heart, fully conscious ascended soul, we consciousness, unity consciousness, embodied the entire universe as self. Your body is a temple, purification for higher light codes, diamond, silver, crystalline, gold, and rainbow. You hear, see, and feel frequencies. All clairvoyances are activated, consciously navigating dimensions. You see all evolutionary progression. You expanded to match the frequency of the universe and equally opposite within, down to the cellular level of the DNA, seeing all programming and how realities are constructed within and without. You may be having intense ascension symptoms bringing through the plasma body. Major expansion into galactic light codes, stargates, collectives. You're definitely expanding into the higher 22 dimensions and actually going from a 12 to 144 strand reconfiguration. So starting to integrate all dimensions to 144 strand. Major expansion into multiple collectives, like I said, extraterrestrial DNA, embodying Arcturian, Syrian plating, harmonizing with the universal womb, the primordial egg. You're living the new age. This is unconditional love. You essentially become a Stargate yourself. You hold the keys to the encodements to the new earth. And you can essentially astral travel anywhere in the universe just by closing your eyes. I just close my eyes and I go within and see the universe. So this is quantum cognition. This is avatar. Fully activated toroidal field is avatar. Consciousness, essentially. And so this is the law of divine oneness. And this is what activates the celestial ascension, is embodiment of these higher dimensions of source self. And then there's a whole plethora of gifts once you get into celestial ascension. So the journey never stops. It just keeps on going. It just continues. I hope that you resonated with these messages today. I hope that this helped you understand in some way your higher 12-dimensional aspects, dimensions 8 through 12. And I know there's a lot of other chakra systems that probably maybe aren't correlating the same information, but this is what I have used. This has been my foundation, and this has really worked for me. And this is what I have been guided by my divine team and my angels and my guides. So I just wanted to share this with all of you. And if you resonate with it and if it helped you, great. I'm so thankful for that. And I am in gratitude. So namaste, and I hope you have a beautiful everything.